Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Book Club. I'm the Rat, and this is the Rat's Nest. I'm joined, as always, by Trevor. Say hi, Trevor.
Hi.
JoJo's Steel Ball Run. It's a pretty good series so far, isn't it, Trevor?
Yeah. We got to see the arcs. We had Tusks, Scary Monsters, and Truman's World, right? Those three.
Those were the three. So we were reading. We read chapters 22 or 23. That's so true. 25 through 35. Those are the chapters we have. Those are the chapters we'll be discussing today. So overall thoughts, Trevor. What'd you think of this little section altogether?
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool seeing like the embodiments of the stands, like not just the abilities, but the actual like physical forms for the first time.
Yeah.
So I liked getting to see the little like pig thing that is Tusk. He looks kind of funky though.
He does look kind of funky, doesn't he?
Yeah,
it's quite the departure from previous JoJo stands.
Yeah,
JoJo stands. I think that's kind of representative of Johnny, who's he's different from the rest of the main JoJos because he's straight.
That's so true.
So true.
That's so true. Also, his primary colors is like a light blue. That's different. We haven't had that before.
Never had a blue before in a JoJo.
Exactly. Yeah. No JoJo has ever worn blue or anything like that.
That is so true.
Yeah. Any color even, like ever, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone's ever worn a color, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you had Jolene, but she doesn't count because she's a woman.
You are so accurate with that, Trevor. So, let's just get right into it, shall we? So
why does Tusk look like that though? Why does it look like that? I don't.
Well, we got
so
stuff.
weird.
We got stuff before we see Tusk.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I wanted to describe what it looked like more, and so I sped ahead to see it.
Yeah, you can't speed ahead.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
So we see everything with Joseph of Arimathea, where he drew a map, and he's the Jesus guy, not like the Jesus guy, Jesus, but like he's the guy that buried him, right?
Yeah.
And he drew this map that kind of fell out. No one knows where it is. But a few years after it disappeared, America had been discovered, right?
Exactly.
That's cool. So you get a little bit of lore there. We get to see Stroheim, who's there for a couple of pages. Gyro takes him out with Spin pretty easily. We see that Spin can make your skin hard enough that it can block bullets, which is pretty fun.
Oh, back to the lore about Jesus. I think it's kind of based that because Jesus' body is buried in America, that kind of confirms the Mormon faith in this universe, something like that. I don't know.
One might say that.
Yeah, one might say that. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen giant like golden tablets or anything like that.
Not yet.
I think that's the Mormon thing, right? It's these giant golden tablets.
I think so. I've never talked to a Mormon.
Yeah, I would never talk to a Mormon.
So
I hate those guys.
Yeah. So.
But yeah.
So they defeat Stroheim pretty easily, and so they're chilling, yada talking about amnesty and all that. Johnny's like, they're terrorists are only after you. It's only a race. And he's like, it doesn't make sense. And Gyro's like, I'm a servant of the king. If I'm victorious in the Steel Ball Run race, the king will release amnesty. That is all. Across this continent is number one. If you think you're endangering yourself, you should travel separately. And Johnny's like, yeah. And then he starts to grab on, but he sees a little thing in his hand, and it's an arm in his arm. That shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
What's that doing there, Trevor?
Yeah. I mean, does it matter? Does it matter? Like, do I need to do this like in order, or can I like jump around, talk about like things, and then like
we can do this. Would you like to just talk about
Wired
Wired itself as an arc, and then move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about Wired itself as an arc, what do you think?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing about like Tusk specifically, right, is that he loses the corpse part during the actual like Wired fight, right? And he isn't able to use his little fingernail like weapons, which like that isn't. I'm confused by it, right? Because that is what happened, right? I remember.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. You're not mistaken at all. So
okay, so what that means is like he did in fact get it at the Devil's Palm, but like why do we why does the thing happen though? The thing with the stuff. Where
thing
it
with
shows
the
him like
stuff?
getting
That's so true.
where it shows me like where he says, and I quote on page 19 of 25, he says, I cut myself when I fell off the horse, but I don't feel any pain. And then like the thing like whoosh, you know?
Yeah, well, that was just kind of it like coming out, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So Tusk is gay?
That's so true. That's exactly what I was gonna say. All right, so here I'm gonna go ahead. So this is kind of with scary monsters too. So here we have gotten into some of the real shenanigans with Steel Ball Run stands. So as you've noticed, it's different. No stand arrow, whatever.
Yeah.
There are two main ways to get a stand in Steel Ball Run. One, through a Devil's Palm, right? And you'd be like, okay, well, what is a Devil's Palm? The Devil's Palm is the area around a corpse part. And if you're in that area and you have potential, you get a stand. Now, if you're in that area and you're real lucky, as in you're favored by the corpse, you get a corpse part.
You may even survive.
That's so true.
With the stand.
That's what happened to Johnny. Johnny got a corpse part. He got the arm. Right? Yeah. And so then Tusk is his stand then. Getting a corpse part kind of enhances a power that you already have, essentially. For Johnny, it was because he was learning spin and he got the arm, his nails gained the ability to spin and they regrow. Later on with Gyro, we see he gets one of the eyes of the corpse. And so it improves his technique with the steel balls where he gets scan. Right? And so then he can scan it. So going ahead and getting into it, we'll talk about scary monsters in a little bit. But Diego gets the corpse eye. And because he was under the influence of Dr. Ferdinand's scary monsters at the time, he kept the stand ability after Dr. Ferdinand died and he became the user.
Yeah, but like a worse version of it. He doesn't have the infection. At least I don't think he has the infection. It doesn't look like he has the infection.
I'm going to reserve comments. But
that's understandable. That's understandable.
But Diego has he has it is different because Dr. Ferdinand, if nothing else, could not turn himself.
Yeah.
I'm not certain if Dr. Ferdinand is a he or a she.
I thought it was a she.
I thought it was a she too. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a she. I'm a fake fan. I know.
Yeah.
If nothing else, Dr. Ferdinand could not turn herself into a dinosaur. So Diego retained at least that. And that's because he got the eye. So the corpse parts are kind of the main vestige of stand giving. Now, corpse parts also have guardians, right? So we see, I think it's in like an info screen later in Wired, where we get to see that, or maybe it was in Scary Monster, I can't remember. We get to see in an info screen in this section of chapters that the little tusk, little pig thing, whatever, like that was the guardian of the left arm. And because Johnny is now the holder of the left arm, that became his stand. We see with Gyro and Diego, if I can't get to the chapters right now because my phone wouldn't load fast enough, I'm just on 25. We see with Diego, after he gets the eye and we see him in his partial transform state leaving at the end of Scary Monsters, he has on the gear for the left half of the eye's guardian because he had the left eye. Gyro has the right eye, and we see the right half of the eye guardian whenever he uses scan in True Man's World. So it's like because like the eyes, there's two of them and they got split up, so it was like half and half with that. So currently Gyro possesses half of the guardian of the eyes. Okay. Because he only possesses the right eye. But we saw that Diego kind of had the armor of the on the left side. So Diego was kind of a special case in that he got scary monsters as his stand, since that was like the technique or ability that he had, and so it just became his stand. And then so like his stand isn't really the left half of the guardian, and then Gyro's stand isn't really either. It's just kind of like that's the body of it, in the same way that like the body of Tusk isn't doing the heavy work. It's Johnny's nails and the spin.
Yeah.
But of course, just walking through a Devil's Palm, you can get a more traditional stand, like Mountain Tim had or Tomb of the Boom. Have they said the name of Mountain Tim's stand yet? It's Oh Lonesome Me. I don't know if you knew that. It's Oh Lonesome Me.
I think he might have said it when he was talking about like, oh yeah, this is my stand. I have a stand. This is my stand. It makes me go like, oh woo 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 woo,
Exactly.
And then Johnny was like, wait, what? A stand? A what? A stand? And not realizing that he had a stand at the time. It was really funny, I think.
And so, with Wired, so getting back into Wired. All right, tangent on stands and Saints. Oh, one last thing I want to say about stands and Saints. So you learn that like a thing in this universe is saints and saints' corpses, like the corpses of saints. Like if you produce miracles after your death, you're a saint, and your corpse, it's more preserved and it can produce miracles. And so like saint's power is a legitimate thing. I think it was Venice had the corpse of Saint Mark, and so that's Gyro's home place, Venice, right? I think.
No, he's from
Naples.
Naples.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Venice.
Yeah, I remember that he's from the Kingdom of Naples because like I remember when they first showed like the thing that said Kingdom of Naples, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, it's a Part 5 reference because it says Napoli, and I was like, dude, no freaking way.
But yeah, so like for example, if you'll remember Zombie Horse from the last batch, and I was like, it's not a stand power. Like I can't explain it yet, but it's not. It's never confirmed, I don't think, but the running theory is that Zombie Horse is string imbued with the power of a saint's corpse, and so that's how it can heal people. And so it's like, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's like it's not like all the saints' power, but it makes sense for not being a stand or spin or anything, because you could say that saints' corpses are like the quote unquote third power system.
Yeah.
This universe.
So we have spin, which is a technique. We have stands, which is a power, and then we have mini stands, which are the saints' corpses.
You could say that saints' corpses are kind of the originators of stands, though. I might count them in kind of the same.
Only Jesus is the original. I'm sorry. That's spoilers. We don't know that. We don't know that for certain yet.
Dude, it's a certain saint, dude. Who could it be? From 1900 years ago, who could it be?
Yeah, and it also says, and I quote, what is his name?
Joseph of Arimathea.
Yeah. It says, Joseph.
He knew the guy. We don't know who he is, though.
He said, he cleaned the body before its burial, dude. He cleaned Jesus' body, dude.
But we don't know that, dude. He could have cleaned so many bodies of so many saints.
Yeah, exactly.
We just don't know. Yeah, so Wired itself, it's against. So the guy that you fight against, his name is Pork Pie Hat Kid.
Yeah.
After the song "Goodbye Pork Pie Hat," and his stand is Wired, and so the fight of Wired itself. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting ability. Not entirely sure how exactly it works, like how he is able to use, like the feathers and stuff as like portals.
If I remember correctly, it's if he has like a thing of water, he can look into it and he can set an object as bait, and if something touches that object, it's hooked. Now, I think that he can also, like, here, I'm going to pull up the exact definition of his ability.
Okay.
Because I'm not very fluent on Wired myself. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably, after rereading Tomb of the Boom and quite enjoying it, Wired is probably my least favorite fight in Steel Ball Run.
I think it's really funny when he eats the pen, though. Man's gonna die from ink poisoning.
This is delicious. This is some serious gourmet shit right here.
This is good stuff.
That's so true. Okay, so ability. So Wired's peculiar ability enables Pork Pie Hat Kid to ambush victims from far away. Yada yada. The Pork Pie Hat Kid can send his two hooks attached to two strong metal cables through a pan of water. So the water is required. So like, it's a decently strong stand, but it has enough that it like holds it. I don't know, probably low B, high C, probably is where I would put it.
Yeah,
the
I
water
agree with that, I
functions
agree
like
with
a
that.
portal through which the pork pie hat king can observe a limited zone as peeking from above, places an object on the surface. It can be observed a limited zone as if peeking from above, and if he places an object on the surface, he can send his hooks through said objects who will come out of another object of the same kind to pull victims. For instance, he can use a bird's feathers to make hooks appear on the other side of the feathers. Pork pie hat kid can also send anything through the object regardless of size, even a horse. Wired hooks, yada yada, are pretty strong. There are several limitations to wired. First, the water surface pork pie hat kid uses is small and only offers a limited view of his target. Thus, he may be fooled into making mistakes. Moreover, anyone can use the objects as portals, which allow Johnny to shoot through several feathers to hurt the user. So, like, this was a pretty perfect. It's a pretty good ambush stand, but other than that, it's not. I enjoyed this arc, right? I thought it was fun enough. I liked the conclusion of it, where it was he used Gyro as bait and got Johnny, and then Johnny had to give up the arm. Cool. It's just I thought that was a smart use, because it's like, yeah, like, why didn't he kill Gyro? Oh, because he was using it as bait. Like, that makes sense. Like, I get it. All right. Ultimately, we get. I'd say the biggest thing to happen this arc. There's two big things that happen this arc. Is one, you meet Funny Valentine, right? He's kind of an important character. I don't know if you knew that, Trevor. Funny Valentine is a little bit of an important character in Steel Ball
Dude,
Run.
I love Hilarious February.
Hilarious February. So that's so true. And so he's after the corpse parts, right? We already talked about that. He sponsored the Steel Ball Run race specifically in the way, because he has the map of Joseph of Arimathea. So he sponsored the Steel Ball Run race to run the route so that people would collect the corpse parts. And then he's going to collect them because he himself has the heart of the corpse.
Yep. Which gives him Dio-like charisma, apparently.
Bro has massive riz.
Dude, he has so much riz, dude.
Bro has
call this man Risotto, because
that's so true.
He's got so much riz.
That is so true. And so he sponsors Pork Pie Hat Kid. I'd say the other big thing that happens here is learning that without the arm, Johnny doesn't have a stand. Because it goes into the deeper understanding of how the corpse parts work and how they affect stands, which is very cool, and that sets up a lot for others. And then obviously Funny Valentine learns of the he gets the sheet that had the Movere Cruce or whatever, like the move your legs or whatever in Latin, imprinted on it. So he was able to figure out the location roughly of the next corpse part that Johnny and Joe are going to. Altogether, I don't have too terribly much to say about Wired. It was fun. It was a fun little fight. Got to see Tusk. Got to see Johnny work individually. It was a fun little fight.
Yeah.
Next, we had Scary Monsters. This was the longest one of this. I think it was, I don't know, it was a couple of chapters, like 5 or something. What do you think? General thoughts on Scary Monsters, Trevor?
Honestly, kind of dinosaurs, kind of cringe.
Yeah, but you gotta admit the scene where Johnny was like, "What is that?" was pretty good.
yeah. Honestly, I don't think I'm autistic enough to enjoy dinosaurs. You know.
Yeah,
that might be offensive. I mean it as offensive. So yeah, if you're taking offense to it, that was my goal. So yeah,
that's so true. What you call it?
Have to make sure people know, you know.
Dude, you got to cover all your bases. You know, can't leave anything up to chance. So, Scary Monsters. My first time reading this, I didn't really enjoy it. On the reread, I liked it more. It's kind of similar to Stone Ocean, where like I'm going through and like Jumpin' Jack Flash. Like I liked that more on the rewatch than originally. I can definitely, Scary Monsters, Dr. Ferdinand's Scary Monsters as a stand. It's okay, right? Like I think it's cool enough. You turn someone into the alpha dinosaur, and then it's Dino-Aids, right? They scratch stuff and they turn it into dinosaurs.
Exactly.
And so it's Johnny and Gyro fighting dinosaurs in the middle of the Wild West, using where one has the hand of unidentified saint, and the other one has green steel balls that spin, and they're looking for the eyes of unidentified saint. It's JoJo did have a pretty bizarre adventure right here.
He certainly did. Has he been called JoJo yet?
There was once at the beginning. He said, "People call me Joe Kid or JoJo."
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, so I can enjoy, Dr. Ferdinand's Scary Monsters. It's a pretty simple stand. I like it. I thought it was a fun little set piece, fun little piece to see them running around. Getting to see Diego was cool. Getting to see Diego eat rocks.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
Scrumptious.
Dude, I wish we would have gotten at least a funny homage to part 1 with Dio saying, but it was Dio. He hasn't done that yet. He hasn't done that yet.
He hasn't done it yet.
I'm really disappointed. I was expecting to
You
have
thought
seen
this
it
was
by now.
another fancy odd dinosaur, but it was me, Dio.
Thought you thought I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea how he would do
lost
it.
your train of thought. That's so true.
Yeah, lost my composure there, dude. Shit.
It's so true. Yeah, it's just I thought it was a fun little set piece. I thought it was used pretty well, for what the ability is.
Overall, I mean, I think the ability is kind of stupid. But it was used well.
Yeah.
So literally the exact opposite of what I think of the funny gravity stand, jumping jack.
Jumping Jack Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, jumping jack Flash. Dude,
Jumping Jack
that,
Spark. Sorry.
Yeah. Because in part 6, right? How it works, just not how it would work, right? Cause a sphere of 0 gravity. Why did the air rush out? That was one of the things that Kate said. That's one of the things that I agree with, but I wasn't going to give him that win.
Yeah. it's a pretty fair point. It is.
Yeah. That's not how it should work. I mean, everything in the 0 gravity sphere should become, equally pressurized.
Yeah.
Which, seeing how small the sphere is, it should just all be at the exact same pressure.
It's a very complicated power for a set piece that was not meant to be that complicated.
Yeah.
We're not ready to be that complicated anyways. But yeah, so Scary Monsters, it's fun. I liked Dio pushing the 2 dinosaurs off and then jumping off of them to get to them. And so then we get to the eyes, the climax, right? They find the eyes of the corpse. Find the little thing. Gyro's turning into a dinosaur because the corpse part protect you from turning into a dinosaur, which I thought was cool. And I really liked how Johnny got rid of the arm to turn into a dinosaur and then use his tail to jump up and attack to get the eyes to Gyro.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought that was really cool. That was probably my favorite part of the arc. Second favorite part of the arc. That was probably my second favorite part of the arc.
Oh, we also got Dio's backstory, too.
Oh, we did. What'd you think of that? I forgot that was here. Yeah.
Dude, absolutely based how his mother got 3rd-degree burns on her hands because of the soup. And then she died because her hands got infected. Absolutely based right there.
That is based,
absolutely
dude.
Based.
That landlord was based, dude.
That wasn't the landlord.
Stick it to the Rentoids. Am I right?
That wasn't even the landlord though. That was the guy who wanted to rape her, and she said no.
Yeah, stick it to the Rentoids. It's so true. But yeah, so it's a little bit different. Because we got to see Dio's mother in part 1, at the very beginning, but she died young. Obviously, Dio didn't have a good relationship with his father, and so he kind of hated him. He turned out bad. So here we see that Diego not only never knew his father, but he grew up around his loving mother. And sure, they were in a sucky situation, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I want to rise to the top of society. But then the question is, well, how does that affect his character compared to Dio Brando? It's an interesting little question because they have 2 very different backstories. Where you see from the backstory that Diego is almost naturally kind-hearted because he genuinely cares about his mother, and Dio himself actually cared about his mother too. But this is a different level because we get to see it, and he wasn't around his father for that bad influence. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I quite like Diego's backstory.
Yeah, I mean it paints him instead of just an absolute meanie head, right? Instead Diego is he's just out here. He's I want to get everything for myself.
Yeah.
Instead of I'm going to influence people with my insane riz and steal my adopted brother's fortune.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then, so to finish the arc off, Diego gets one of the eyes and gets scary monsters since he was under the influence of it. So he can still turn into a dinosaur. Pretty based.
Yeah.
And then you also have
he
Gyro.
Can breathe really good. He can breathe really good.
He can. He sure can. And then you get Gyro, who gets scanned. And then you get, so that is one of the most iconic panels from Steel Ball Run. Is Gyro sitting there with like the eye going into his face.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite part of Scary Monsters, with Johnny using his tail to jump, and that is as a very close second. Because I was like, that's a really cool moment. I forgot that happened. It shows Johnny's determination, which comes into play in the next arc. So after Scary Monsters, we have a little chapter where it's the end of stage 3, right? Or stage 2? I think it's the end of stage 2.
I don't know. Let me click there real fast.
I'm pretty sure it's the end of stage 3.
Sorry, I was a chapter behind in
you're all
your
good.
talking.
You're all good. And
yeah, okay.
They're coming up on a lake, all the racers. Everyone's getting there around the same time, right? Cool. And they're like, you can either go left, which is like mountains, right, which is paths, but it's longer. So it's easier terrain, but it's longer. And then Gyro's like, I'm going to go through the middle. And then Diego follows him using his newfound Scary Monsters technique to really hone in with nature. Right? To be like, use his predator instincts. I think that's a cool...
They breathe really good.
I think that's... I think Hamon, dude. It's Hamon.
It's Hamon,
Scary
dude.
Monsters.
No way. That's why he goes to the water. That's why he goes to the water.
That is because you can walk on water with Hamon. That's why he did it, dude. Can't believe
honestly though,
frightening beast gives you the power of sunlight.
Honestly though, dude, I really expected Gyro just to take his steel ball and just like make it spin really hard and like part the sea, right? Because like he would get disqualified for that because he's not interrupting any of the other racers.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, like he theoretically would have gotten away with it, so he could have just just dropped the water.
But it also would have made him
really
super
funny.
suspicious because it's like, how did he do that?
You just be like,
people don't know the steel balls exist.
He's just like, oh yeah, there's this secret technique, right? And
no, I'm just into really Moses. I have really Moses' corpse. That's what it lets me do.
Exactly. He was like, oh yeah, I got the staff of Moses, not the one that turned into a bronze snake, the other one.
Yeah. And so you get his little thing where like he's doing everything he can to win. He's losing weight, right? Whatever. And then we get to it, and then Johnny's like, Gyro, your hair whack, your shoes whack, your fit whack, the way that you don't even like to smile whack. Basically, Johnny's like, he's like, you know why you keep losing?
Like, that's why your mama did.
That's why your shoes ragged. That's why your mama did. That's so true. And he's like Gyro. He's like, do you know why you keep coming in short? Because you don't have the hunger, right? Because you're an inheritor. I think that was the word that was used. You're an inheritor, right? You don't have your own drive, right? And Johnny's like, I'm going around, and then yada yada. The race finishes. I think Gyro finishes in 4th because you have him against Diego at the final stretch. Johnny passes both of them at the final second. Yeah, so you're like, oh, Johnny won the stage, and then it's like, no, Pop Pants did.
It goes Johnny, Diego, then Gyro, and then you're like, but actually, Hot Pants, definitely, he's definitely a guy. He's definitely a guy. Definitely a guy. Definitely a guy. Definitely a guy. He's definitely a guy.
He's definitely a guy. You definitely did not read chapters 36 and 37, Trevor.
I have no idea that Hot Pants has breasts. I swear. That
didn't happen. It didn't happen. Nothing happened.
Like there's no way Johnny cops a feel. It simply doesn't happen. There's no way it could happen.
There's no way it could happen, obviously.
But yeah, you see that Hot Pants came through almost an hour, over an hour before.
Yeah, and so
his base.
Then we get into True Man's World. I went through that chapter itself because that it's a kind of a standalone chapter, introduction to True Man's World. And then we get True Man's World. What do you think of True Man's World, Trevor?
Yeah, True Man's World, it was cool. You can see the funny cow that says HP on it at like HP Lovecraft. I thought that was a cool reference.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool reference.
Nothing else.
Couldn't be anything else. We got one of the most memed scenes in Steel Ball Run. We have tell him to go eat shit, Johnny. Tell him yourself. And then he does tell him himself.
He does tell him himself.
Eat shit, asshole. Fall off your horse.
So good.
So true.
So good.
That's so true. Yeah.
Where is the scene? Where is the scene?
It's I think it's chapter 1 of True Man's World. Should be.
Yeah, but I'm trying to find.
Whenever
is
Hot
it
Pants.
after?
It's after their initial
okay,
encounter
after
with Hot
the
Pants.
initial scuffle. Yeah,
That's right. I forget you've seen. I don't guess it's not a spoiler saying that Cream Starter is the name of Hot Pants' stand.
Yeah. Cream Starter.
So it's the beginning of Vanilla Ice's Cream, which obviously we'll get into later. Cream Starter, dude. And so it uses flesh, and it can spray it like a spray can.
Yeah. Makes
Terrifying
sense.
because you just spray it over someone's face. They have no mouth and they must scream.
Exactly.
About Hot Pants, Hot Pants himself isn't a bad guy because Johnny's like.
Just say herself.
Hot Pants herself isn't a bad person because we get Johnny being like look, we didn't do this. Like the cow is already dead. Yada yada, and Hot Pants is like, okay.
We don't even have a gun. We don't even have a way to shoot projectiles really fast. Either of us. Neither of us have a way to do anything like that.
He shot into the ground. What you call it?
Exactly.
Funny. He's like that doesn't match. You can go check. And Hot Pants is like, you guys are good people. And then later, Hot Pants runs into them because they're lost in this forest. How crazy is that?
There it is. I found it. They meet in the forest, and he's like, Gyro says, "Tell him to go eat shit, Johnny." And Johnny's like, "Tell him yourself. Eat shit, asshole. Fall off your horse."
He told him himself.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh.
There's a video where people I don't think it was one of the ones I sent to you where people animated it like in the anime style. So they did it normal, and then they did a blooper scene where Johnny does actually tell him to eat shit, asshole, fall off your horse.
That's great. Dude, I cannot wait for part 7 to be animated just because I want to see this scene. I just want to see the scene.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. So, lost in the forest, yada yada. Ringo Road again, right?
Yes. With the stand, the opposite of King Crimson.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's exactly what it is.
Ringo Road again with Mandem. Now, you might be wondering, Mandem, that's kind of an odd name. It's like, Mandem is like a song. It's one of a couple stands in Steel Ball Run where Araki kind of deviated from his normal stand naming scheme of like older Western rock songs, whatever. Where Mandem is like the name of a song used in like a Japanese commercial, like a very popular Japanese like commercial like series. I'll have to look back into it. It's weird. Like if you look up Mandem on Spotify, you won't find anything. I think you'll find like a fan song for like Mandem the Stand, but you won't find like Mandem the song. So it is kind of weird.
More than likely, it won't have to get changed.
Yeah, and there's 2 more that probably won't either. Whenever we get there, because it's actually it's a neat little piece of JoJo. It's a nice little JoJo period piece with the 2 of the stands that we'll see. But so we have Ringo Road again and
We're gonna get to see my favorite stand, Stand Proud and Trader's Requiem.
That's so true. Yeah, I quite like Mandem. It is.
Dude, I can't wait for Trader's Requiem to get hit with a stand arrow and become Trader's Requiem. That'd be so cool.
It's so true. Trader's Requiem. It spoils part 6 too.
It does.
Yeah. Mandem is it's easily top 20 for me. It's in Kyle's top 10.
I mean, so far, like in part 7 so far, I mean, it's definitely within the top, like, I don't know, like 12.
Yeah, something like
or
that.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know. How many have there been?
Yeah, I quite like it because you get to see Ringo Road again and his true man's world, right? Where he's
exactly, yeah.
Mandem is an example of a stand where like it's underutilized, right? Obviously, Ringo could have used the stand to win his fights, but like he didn't want to, right? Because his idea of the true man's world is winning winning a fair duel, like taking your life into your own hands, taking responsibility for that, being willing to do what it takes. And he got this with his backstory that we saw. He was very sickly, always getting cuts. You know, he had like glass bones and paper skin, right? And there was one day that his family was murdered. Someone broke into the house, murdered his family, and was going to pull a JoJo's Part 9 on him, right?
I don't get that reference.
You will eventually.
I will eventually. I will eventually.
But then so Ringo pulls out a gun and he's like yada yada. He puts down his gun to kind of test the guy because the guy is like saying all these things. What you call it? Puts him down. The guy lunges for the gun immediately, and then Ringo shoots him. And from that day on, he was never sick again. Right? He became healthy after that. And so that is Ringo Rodigan's true man's world. Taking your life into your own hands, doing that, overcoming that, and how that translates now is winning an equal duel. So, like, for example, he uses Mandem a couple of times. He uses it first. Well, he uses it a lot because they get lost in the forest, right?
Yeah.
He uses it first whenever he's surprise attacked by Hot Pants and Cream Starter. And so, obviously, he reverses time there because that wasn't a fair duel. And he's talking to Gyro and Johnny, and he's like, "I don't want to talk to you." He said, "You're not worth my time." He looks over at Johnny. He said, "Now that guy, he's hot." He said, "That guy's hot." And Johnny's like, "Okay, I'll duel him." What you call it? And then they duel. They duel fair and square. And Ringo wins. What you call it? He shoots Johnny. Ringo gets shot, I believe, but it's not bad. And then Hot Pants also gets smashed into the house. And then it's up to Gyro. He's like, Ringo's like, "I'm not going to kill you." He said, "Because you can't kill me." He said, "You're weak, right?" He said, I'm leaving." He said, "You're not even worth killing." Right? And so then Gyro has to man up, go in and face Ringo Rodigan and enter the true man's world. And Gyro comes in and he's like, "I notice your collarbone," right? He says, "There's a bit of shrapnel there. If I hit it, you're paralyzed." Right? That would suck to have a paralyzed character in Part 7. Exactly.
I'm so glad that we don't have any like paraplegics or anything like that. Like everyone is fully functioning.
And so here Gyro is. He believes Johnny's still alive, right? He's like Johnny's gonna die, right? He's like, I have to. He's insulted. He's embarrassed, right? He's just been trashed. You know, that's why your shoes raggedy. That's why your mama's dead. You know, Ringo's got to. So Gyro is in a position where he has to stand up and move on his own. He's like, the only way out of this is to kill Ringo Rodigan. Right? He said, I have to save Johnny. He said, I have to get out of here. And Ringo was going to let him go. He's like, I won't use Mandem keeping you in the force. You can go. So it's not just saving Johnny, it's also proving to himself, I can do this. Right? It's coming into this race saying finally getting Gyro to be like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Right? Doesn't matter. Johnny's ready to cap a fool whenever he wants. He'll pop up on the block and scat. He doesn't care. Johnny's just hood like that, right?
That's so true. Hoods were a thing back then.
That's so true. But Gyro is from the very peaceful Italy. No one ever kills anyone in Italy.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
And this also ties into Gyro's backstory.
There never have been and never will be any world wars that have any imported people from Italy.
Never.
It's never going to
happen.
There'd
never be a people of conquerors that come from Italy. Never. It just won't happen.
Exactly.
Just won't happen. Yeah, so it also ties into Gyro's backstory. Where like he's always been afraid to do what was necessary, right? He'll get the job done, but like he'll get it done. You know, he doesn't put everything into it. But here he's in a position where he's like, I have to put everything into this. He goes in. Their first duel with him and Ringo Rodigan is a tie. Ringo shoots him, but Ringo's also paralyzed. So he uses Mandem to switch back. And the trigger for Mandem is, it's actually interesting in that Mandem, he doesn't have to hit his watch. That's like a mental trigger for him. Like it's never said like hitting the watch itself is the trigger. It's the mental trigger of doing that activates Mandem. I think that's interesting. So that's the other time he uses Mandem is then. And so they're like, okay, we're redoing this, right? We're going again because they remember everything that happens. Mandem's brought back. They go again, and Ringo's like, okay, well, I'll get him with my next shot. that hesitation from Ringo is what finishes him, because Gyro aims for one of the wood shards that he remembered how it fell the first time, and he kills Ringo. Right? Gyro does this in one shot. Ringo is like, he's like, welcome to the true man's world, right? And there we have funny Gyro Man has gotten his determination and resolve. I quite that you know, it's a, you could always talk more in depth about True Man. Kyle will talk your ear off about True Man's world. It's kind of good that he's not here. Like, I know I said a lot, but like Kyle's gonna say a lot more. And I think that it's an arc that does deserve that, because I think it's a good arc. But yeah, this is kind of I think the first example we've seen so far in Steel Ball Run of a stand fight that's like more than just a stand fight, you know?
Actually, all of the early ones, like Boom Boom, that it was more than just a stand fight, because you know, neither of our main characters had stands at the point. So
that's true. It was a stand and spin fight, and there was no spin used in this fight. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It was 0 spin, dude. It was all a stand, because at this point, spin is a stand because it got the little eye.
The dude got the eye. You got the eye.
The eye, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we'll next time. So you got any final things to say about True Man's World? Funny. What did we say his name was? Shronald Street twice.
Yeah.
Stronald Street twice.
Yeah. Yep.
Say that 5 times fast. I sure can't.
I think the way his stand looks is like kind of weird, though.
Yeah, we're getting into part 7 and 8 and 9 stand designs, where Araki kind of goes for a little bit of a different philosophy than he has previously.
Yeah. Like I've already looked ahead at the next arc. And you know, there's the one character, is the funny step on rain stand. And his rainbow stand. Yeah. His stand is like just a mask.
Yeah.
Or at least that's all I've seen so far. So I'm assuming it's just a mask. It's like, yeah, it's cool. You know, like he's changing up the formula a little bit, which I'm like, I fully support. You know, I've honestly gotten kind of bored of the same old humanoid punch man. He go few and punch really fast.
He go ora or ari or doa or muda.
Yeah.
No more those 4. Yeah. So it's a bit of fresh air, you know, getting to see. And it also, you know, kind of also with parts 7 and 8, taking more of the emphasis on the fight from the stands to the users, kind of like we saw in Mandem. We're like, it's not really Gyro's Steel Ball and Scan versus Mandem. It's Gyro versus Ringo. And so, like, Mandem kind of takes a backseat to that. And so, like, the design is a little more subdued. So, like, I think it's representative not just of his design philosophy, but also of his writing philosophy with Part 7. But it looks pretty cool too. So there's that.
Sure does.
Yeah. So next time, I guess have you said your piece on the 3 arcs, Trevor?
Yeah, I think so.
So next time we will be tackling the next 3 arcs, and technically it's 4, I guess, because technically 35 or 36 and 37. Are named differently from 38 and 39, but they're one arc. We'll be tackling through chapter 47, I believe. Let me check. I got it all written out right here, you know. Let's see. So we have 36 through 47. We will have three things here. I am so excited for this, because like I said, Wired is my least favorite Steel Ball Run fight. So like I really enjoy everything else in here. So I enjoyed Wired too, but it's gonna be good. I hope you're looking forward to it, Trevor, because I am so excited to reread the rest of this. What do you call it? Yeah. So if you're this far in the video, obviously there's something you like. So make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us why Mandem's localized name should be Femdom. Because it should. That's what it should be. We will see you this next Wednesday, not with Chainsaw Man, with something else. I don't know. This is probably going up Sunday. We'll see. It is probably going up Sunday. We'll have to. We'll just see about that. So yeah. So we will see you all next time. Bye bye. Trevor.
Do I have to say it?
Yeah, you gotta say it.
Do I have to?
Yeah, you do.
What if I don't,
can't,
though?
I can't
What if I
in the
don't,
episode until you don't.
Oh, okay. So like, this could be the longest episode if I just don't say goodbye.